All right. Good evening and welcome back to Trial Watch with Demetra. I am Demetra Lit all day, or as I prefer in my official capacity to call myself, Judge D Lit. And we are back for part two of a new trial that we started yesterday. Hey, OG Wu Child. Hey, Winter. Hey, Tanya McNeil. Thank y'all for joining. Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box. I had to run to get over here. All right, so we started a new trial last night. The state of Georgia versus one Miles Bryant. Just to recap and let you guys know. And of course, I don't know if I started my playlist yet, but I will start a playlist for this trial post taste. Okay, I will take care and make sure that there's always a playlist for the trial so you can catch whatever part you missed. But to recap and let you guys know what's going on with the trial, the new trial, this is part two. We started last night. This is the state of Georgia versus Miles Bryant. Miles Bryant, young black police officer, Norcross, Georgia, seemingly did the right things in life. ROTC, all his high school career, immediately went into the police academy, working and doing his thing. Police officer, somebody who we instilled in our trust. Susan Morales, 16 years old, 10th grader at high school there in Norcross, Georgia. Non-problematic. She leaves home with her mom's permission. What her mother didn't know was instead of going to the friend Esmeralda house, she went to another friend apartment. But still only 10, 15 minutes away. She walked to her friend's house, never made it back home. She was reported missing. 100 and what did they say? 196 days later, February of 2023, her body was found and located in the wooded area. Close to that body, in close proximity, near proximity, they found the police issued gun, a gun that was registered to Miles Bryant. And that's when the investigation into Miles Bryant began. From what we heard in the opening statement last night, they was able to place him in that area where her body was found for a couple of hours that same night she came up missing, as well as place him back at that scene of her death the next morning. One moment. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I had to take care of some business real quick. I'm back. So last night was the first night opening statements. I think that the state did a pretty good job laying out the case, what we're going to hear. The defense said something so strange, and I wrote it down in my notes, but I don't have my notes right here. But I'm paraphrasing very loosely what the defense attorney said. Hey, Kurt Vixen, welcome back to the box. The defense attorney said in her opening statements, paraphrasing loosely, every death is not a homicide. Every homicide is not malice murder. That struck me as very, that stands very clear in my mind that she said that. And from that moment, I was like, what? The defense went on to say that by the end of the trial, we won't like her client. We will probably hate her client. But that we should still not hold that against him, but hold him accountable for what he did do. So I don't know exactly what they trying to say. I don't know if they that he didn't kill her, somebody else killed her. I don't know. But it's all real strange. Last night we heard testimony, a very emotional testimony from her mother. And tonight when we start, we're going to be starting with the testimony from her sister. Hey, Foot Soldier, welcome back. Foot Soldier, I was looking for you last night to see what you thought about this new trial. Okay, so the mom spoke last night, testified last night, talked about her daughter's general disposition. Has she been in a lot of trouble? She hadn't been in a lot of trouble, just the regular high schooler stuff, and really nothing at all to be really concerned about. She wasn't a runaway on a regular basis. She wasn't in the streets. Again, 16-year-old Susanna Morales was unalived. All they found of her remains 196 days later, after the day she went missing, was her skeletal remains. So they weren't able to determine exactly the cause of death. However, they did find Miles Bryant, the defendant, who was a police officer at the time. They found his gun where her body was. The same gun that he called in the day she went missing, was reported missing. He called in this gun as stolen. So tonight we continue with part 2. Please hit the like and thank you guys for joining me on State of Georgia versus Miles Bryant. Part 2.
Jasmine Brett.
That's her mom. She just finished testifying. This trial has a lot of good witness testimonies. Going to the stand is her sister. I think that's Jasmine.
Good afternoon. If you'll remain standing, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. Have you ever testified before, ma'am?
No.
Okay, these microphones are here. Everyone has to hear your answer, so I'm going to ask you to move closer.
Okay.
My court reporter, Sheila, right here, she's taking everything down.
I like
so
this judge.
She can't tell if you say so I might say, is that a yes or is that a no, because we want to get an accurate record. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good.
Could you go ahead and introduce yourself, please, to the jury?
Yes. My name is Jasmine. Susanna was my sister.
Jasmine, what's your last name?
Perez.
And Susanna was your sister. So, give me your family, not your entire family tree, but who's your immediate family?
I would be just my mom, my older sister, and my Susie. Just us three. Well, now it's more because I got married, but
Okay.
back then, it was just us three.
All right, so the family's expanding, but originally it's your mother,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Maria
Yes.
lady who just testified.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sorry.
You have two sisters, so tell me about your older sister.
My older sister, we're about 5 years apart, if I'm not mistaken. But I was a little more closer with Susie because we still used to live together at the time. We were 23 years apart. Yes.
So you and you call her Susie.
Susie. Mm-hmm.
Susanna. So you and Susie, what's the age difference?
3 years.
3 years. So this occurred 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, July 2026. At that time, how old was Susie?
16.
And how old were you?
19.
And at the time that that the incident here in this case occurred, where were you living at?
I had already moved out, but I lived like 2 minutes away, like down the street.
Okay. And were you living by yourself or with
Yes, I
others?
was renting a room.
Sorry?
I was renting a room, sorry.
Renting a room. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And just roommates, or you said well, let me ask you differently. You're married now.
Yes, I'm married now.
Okay. And when did you get married?
In September of that year.
Of 2022?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry if you heard me. I cannot remember. It was a year ago.
Okay.
It was a year ago.
Last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that a
And
yes? Is that a
Yes.
yes? Okay, thank you.
Sorry, ma'am.
it's all right.
It's
not a problem.
okay. It's all right.
And of course, as we go through these questions that I have for you, if you don't understand anything, just you can let me know.
Yes.
And there's also some water right here if you need some
Thank you
water.
so much.
Okay.
That lady
Some
trying to
people
give water to
feel
everybody.
free to just grab it and pour it while we're talking, but you can go ahead and grab it. If you want to grab some now, you can. And
I think I'm okay. Thank you.
All right. So you, how long before Susie was taken did you move out of your mother's home?
It had been only like a month or 2 months.
Okay. Now, prior to
Welcome
that,
back to
you were
step
kind
2
of
and now. We
freshly
just getting
out on
started.
your own at that point.
It's
Prior
the
to
victim
that,
system.
had you grown up in the home with your mother, with Susie, there in the house?
Yes.
How would you describe your relationship with Susie?
Well, I mean, like us sisters, we didn't have a perfect relationship. You know, we would fight a lot. But as far as I can tell for her, she was a prankster of the family, the jokester. She was the one that would always make us laugh. If we were sad, she was the one that crack out a joke or make sure that we're okay. She had the most beautiful smile. And an amazing voice.
I
Hey, Lady Steph. Okay, thank you.
All the time.
Oh my God, here we go.
And what kind of things would she do for fun?
She was really into her self-care, so she always doing like trying new hairstyles, doing her makeup. She like going out with her friends. She was learning the piano. She learned like a few songs already, and she was starting to play the guitar as well.
How often would you speak to, and I say speak, I'm not huge on texting. I don't do it a lot, but I do text. So I mean, talking to on the phone, texting on the phone, messaging on social media platforms, and seeing her in person, kind of everything combined. How often would you interact with your sister Susie?
After I had moved out, maybe like twice a week.
And before that, before you had moved out, the month or two before, you see her every day?
Yeah, I would say every day.
You feel like you knew her pretty well?
I would say so, yes.
And you know, I think we all can make assumptions about sisters. I have 3 of them, and so I know them pretty well. You said that, like all sisters, you didn't get along. Sometimes you argue. Just about sisterly things, things around the house. And
She would take my makeup.
She would take your makeup. Okay. And around the time of when Susie was taken, how was her? You were talking to her about once or twice a week at that time. What was her? We use the word demeanor, but I'll change it. How was she acting? Was she happy? Was she sad? How was she feeling?
I can tell she was happy. She was starting to go out with her boyfriend, Axel. So every time I would come over to the house, we were always just talking, and I would be like, who are you talking to? And she would be like, I'm not gonna tell you. And then I would make her tell me, and then we would just like say hi over the phone. But she seemed happy.
Okay. So initially, when the relationship was new with Axel, she kind of kept it to herself, but then.
But I knew.
You're a sister, so you have like a sisterly intuition about things. So, did y'all talk about boys often?
When I would notice maybe she was talking, I would always ask her, and she would end up telling me. After like I was like, just tell me, but she would end up telling me.
Okay. I want to kind of move into July 26th of 2022. That day, do you recall that day? Okay. And I know it's difficult to talk about it, so if we need to take any break or anything like that, we can. Tell the jury kind of the first thing that happened that day that was odd in relation to this case, in relation to Susanna disappearing.
The only thing that It was my mom called me. I think I was already asleep around that time, but she called me at night asking if I had heard from Susie because she wasn't answering any of her text or phone calls. And um, at that time, I really didn't think anything bad. I told her, it's okay. Let's just wait for tomorrow. Maybe her phone died, or maybe she fell asleep at her friend's house. That's what happened that night.
And do you have any recollection about what time approximately that was?
I would say from 10 to 11. I can't say for sure what time.
That's all right. So after you got the call, what did you weren't overly concerned at that point
I wasn't.
about anything? What did you do after the phone call with your mother?
I do believe I tried calling her, and then when she didn't respond, I just texted my mom back. She didn't answer me.
Did you receive any other calls or texts from anybody about Susie that night?
No.
All right. Did any of her friends reach out to you in some way and say, anything about Susie?
That night, no.
Okay. So after you talked to your mother that night, just kind of walk us through what the rest of your night looked like.
I was already asleep, so I think I just fell back asleep.
And what was the next thing that happened in relation to your sister?
Welcome back, Kathy.
The next thing, I went to work the next day around 6 a.m. So I remember that morning, like 2 hours into my shift, I believe, my mom called me. She's like, hey, Susie still hasn't come back home. I'm worried. And that's when I also started to get worried. So I told her just to give me a couple minutes. I'm going to talk to my bosses to see if they can let me go home. Because we wanted to make a police report. I was like, okay, wait for me. I'm about to be there. And I left, and that's when we called 911.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do?
At that time, I worked at a warehouse.
At a warehouse?
Mhm.
Okay. So once you left, where did you go in order to file the police report?
We called it at my mom's house.
Okay. So you went to your mother's house. Did y'all just call like 911 at
Yes.
that point?
911.
And where did you meet the officers at?
In the driveway at our house.
Who all was present when the police showed up there?
It was my mom, Axel, and me.
And approximately what time, if you recall, did the police show up to take that report?
I can't say for sure, but I think 9 a.m. from 10 a.m.
Okay. So in the morning hours the next morning.
Yes.
Now, by that time, what information did you have about where Susie was at?
I can't recall exactly how it happened, but I know at that time we already had the screenshots to the Live 360 about her on the way home, and then all of a sudden moving directions, and then the crash alert. We did have that, just those screenshots.
Okay. And how did you get those screenshots?
I can't say if Kaya sent it to me or my mom sent it to me because Kaya sent it to her.
Okay. And did you say Kaya? Who is Kaya?
One of her best friends.
Now, did you know Kaya?
Yes.
All right. And how did you know her?
Well, Susie would bring her to the house. That's how I met her. And then sometimes we would all go out together, or they would ask me to take them somewhere, or just give them a ride.
Yes, this is a sister that was closest in age with her, Kathy.
Kaya's phone number? Did she have your phone number?
Yes,
So she could have sent you these text messages.
she could have.
Excuse me, the screenshots of life.
Yes.
Had you talked to your mother or anybody else about the night before where Susie was going or where she ended up going?
No, just my mom.
I'm sorry?
You're asking if anybody else knew where she went?
Well, by the time you called the police, the next morning when you showed up to the house and the police get called, had you talked to your mother or anybody else to learn where more information, right, about where Susie was supposed to go the night before or where she actually went?
I think Axel. I asked Axel because I know I did go pick him up, and he was there with us for the police report. So I believe that I asked him. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I did ask Esmeralda or Kaya, or if my mom asked them on behalf of me. I'm not sure.
I understand. So Axel, and who is Axel?
Susan's boyfriend.
Her boyfriend? Okay. Now, you went and picked him up and brought him back to your mother's house. And so he was present along with you and your mother when you called the police.
Yes.
What was at that point when you talked to the police and made a report, did you speak mostly with the police?
Yes, I did.
Now, did you interpret for your mother?
Yes.
Now, and at that time, what was your understanding of where Susie had been the night before?
Well, that day we learned that she didn't go to Smarta's house like she had asked, or told my mom she was going to. She went to Kelly's house instead, and we found out because of the Life 360.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may at this point, before we go any further, if I could just have a continuing objection.
Certainly, certainly.
That way I'm not interrupted.
A
Thank you.
continuing
That's great.
objection to what?
You said that you had gone to Kelly's house and you knew that because of the Life 360.
Yes.
Okay, and what do you mean by that? How did you know that because of Life 360?
Because I know Esmeralda lives in the neighborhood right in front of us, and she went to the apartment complex another way.
So once you made the report, did you tell the police all of this information that you're sharing with us? Did you tell the police that?
Yes.
What did you and your family do at that point?
At that point, since we knew where we imagined she would have walked, we started walking that same area, and we talked to like any stores that are like on that street, and we also passed duplexes as well. So we were looking for cameras for like the rings. So we were just trying to get to see if anybody could maybe have seen her. So that's what we were doing that about the following day.
I understand. Well, you said, and right now, 1 minute, I'm gonna grab this board over here.
Let me take this opportunity. All cell phones must be turned
Y'all may
off.
remember last night when they asked the mother how often or how many days they look for Susanna. The mama say every day until they found her body.
Sorry, Mr. Delphont.
Over 7 months later,
Certainly.
every day.
May I approach the witness?
Absolutely.
I'm going to show you. I've marked this as State's Exhibit number 32, and I'll publish it here in a moment to everybody and hopefully turn it. But this State's Exhibit number 32, do you recognize what is depicted here?
Yes.
All right, and what is it?
It's the road where we live on and the road where the Life 360 was going towards.
Okay. Is this kind of a map of the general area around where you live and some of the events in this
Yes.
case happened?
Yes.
All right. Is it a fair and accurate map or depiction of the area?
Yes.
All right, Judge, I move to admit State's Exhibit number 32 into evidence.
No objection.
Okay, State's Exhibit 32 is admitted without objection.
And Judge, may I publish to the,
Yes, you may.
and I'm gonna, y'all are fine to stay right there. I'm not gonna hit you. I'm just gonna move back.
And if any jurors need to stand up or come into the well, meaning outside of your box to see this, just raise your hand. We'll make arrangements for you to be able to see this.
All right, now, and actually, because this is gonna be really difficult to do, no matter how I arrange this.
Wait a minute, y'all. Sidebar. Look who just got a bath. It's like, just took me a bath. I smell good. Sorry, y'all. Just had to show y'all. Let me see.
Is it all right with the court and with you if you step down and with you show some things on here for me?
Yes.
Is that all right with the court?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask my bailiffs to reposition themselves to maybe the front row. Or that, yeah, that'll be fine in front of the door. Thank you.
Perfect, right there. There's one right here. All right, now, I just want you to, and maybe I'll switch with you. You can stand over here. I just want you to point out a few things to the jury. Would you identify on this map, just what roadways, what are the major roadways here that we're looking at?
Reynolds, Dillon, Reynolds, and this one, correct?
And ma'am, I'm going to ask you to speak up because you don't have a microphone and my court reporter needs to make sure she gets down your testimony, okay?
Singleton Road, Steve Reynolds, and then Indian Trail. Those are the main roadways.
And can you point out to the jury where it is that Susanna and your mother lived at the time? Okay, and you're pointing there, and that's actually labeled in red as Susanna Morales at home. Is that
Mr.
correct?
Delphont, I want to ask you to move back the juror right there. I just want to make sure that juror can see.
I'm trying to
I know.
get this available for everybody here. All right. Everybody see? Okay. Where in relation to the home, did you used to live in that same home?
Yes.
Okay, so your old home, where in relation to that is the apartment complex, the Sterling Glen apartment complex where Kelly lived at?
So I know there's, if I'm not wrong, this is the exit way, and then here's the entrance way, so all these apartments right here.
Okay, so this area right here on the map, that's got labels for Kelly Pagoda Home.
Okay.
That's the apartment complex?
Yes.
Right. A moment ago, you testified that you and your family started going around, look on the way she walked home,
Yes.
looking at the way she walked home. Can you show the jury how she would have walked from, or how anybody would have walked from Sterling Glen Apartments back to your home or your mother's home on Santa Ana Drive?
Yes. So we weren't sure which way she would have taken, but we did walk from the exit way, because this only a one-way entrance, so this is the only way in. We can go out as well, this is the exit, so we walked all this right here. So we weren't sure if she left through here or she did the whole,
Okay, and just so I can be a little bit more descriptive here, this apartment complex, does it have, it has a main entrance?
yes, it has a main entrance.
All right, so can you enter and exit from that main entrance?
Yes.
All right, and where is that, can you point out to the jury where that's located, the main entrance?
Mr. Different. Mr. Different.
Keep doing that. Stay back here. So that's on Indian Trail Road, that main entrance?
Yes.
All right, so there, you said there was another exit way, I think you said it was an exit only, and point out to the jury where that's at.
It's right here, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and you're pointing at, is that on Singleton Road?
Yes.
Okay, so you said that you weren't sure which way Susanna would have taken home at the time. So did you, what areas did you walk to look for things?
We walked all this road right here. There's a lot of grass, we could take this, we did search to maybe if we saw anything of her personal belongings, and we did go into the apartments as well.
Okay.
Right, I would have looked everywhere.
When you got to the apartments, where did you go or what did you look for?
Everywhere we would ask anybody around if they seen her, we would just walk around, see if we could see anything. We weren't really sure what was going on, so we would just honestly look anywhere. Especially we're at the
Welcome back, Candy Cane.
It's a restaurant. No, this is a grocery store. So we always look there.
Okay, so at the apartment complex, is this the next morning or the next day that y'all are walking these areas?
It was that same day we walked.
Okay. How many folks do you think you spoke to in the apartment complex asking if they've seen anything?
I can't recall, but I know anybody that would have talked to us if we asked.
And sometimes it's helpful to give kind of a range or something, but you think it was more than 10 or more than 50?
More than 10.
More than 10, okay. Now, did you also, so you looked obviously, you pointed earlier at Singleton Road that you kind of walked down. Did you end up walking from like the Windscape Village, the main entrance here on Indian Trail, up to Singleton in this area here?
I don't think we walked, but I know we drove.
Okay.
But we did walk right here because I know that's where her last vacation came. So we did a walk out through it and into the forest to see if we saw any of her belongings as well.
Okay. Now this over here, and you pointed, and there's obviously labels on this already, but would you show the jury when you received the Life 360 screenshots? What was it indicating about Susanna's location?
That she could have been there, but it mostly didn't hear that her phone died there, and it indicated there that first there was a crash detection there.
Okay. And you say there. Can you point on the map to the jury where there is, where that crash alert thing? Okay.
There was two screenshots, I believe, one can point right here and one can point more into, but I can't say for sure if it's accurate. But we did ask all those buildings right there.
Okay.
They had seen her.
Understood. So and the buildings you're talking about here, there's a label for O'Clock Trace. Is that the area you're talking about?
Yes.
All right. Now, you and your family also went and canvassed that area?
Yes.
Okay. And again, just best that you can remember, ballpark kind of, how many people did you speak to in that area?
Probably around 10 or more as well.
And in talking to people at both locations, the Sterling Glen Apartments and here, did you receive any information from anybody, any leads as to where her location was? Okay. You also mentioned Food Depot, and I think you pointed out this building over here, and I'm going to get back out of the way, but this building over here, that's a grocery store that's there on Singleton Road? Did you go there?
Yes, we went there. We put flyers all around this area. So all around the Food Depot, this is the Checkers. So we would go everywhere putting the flyers.
And did you go to all the businesses kind of up and down there looking for information?
Yes.
Did you ask them anything about video?
Yes, we did. That's where we got the camera footage at this place.
All right, you're pointing at that place. What is that place?
It's an academy. I think it's like a daycare and also for old people.
Okay, so
I don't know the right term.
so it's you think maybe a daycare, but they also want to take care of elderly people as well.
I think so, yes.
But that business, you obtained video footage from that business? All right. Were you able to obtain video footage from any other business other than that one? Did you attempt to? Did you try?
Yes. Checkers, we tried, but they said they needed law enforcement to go. So we did let the lieutenant at the time know. And a couple of these duplexes right here had Ring cameras. I believe one of these did, and then a duplex right here as well. And I remember one of the cameras here as well had a house that had cameras, but they weren't home at the time, so I didn't even know, but they needed back home, so like weeks later.
Okay. And when you say weeks later, is that an issue as it relates to the footage?
It was, because I left a note and it said that their camera stores.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to your saying.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
Okay. Let me ask a different one. Are you familiar, Bryant, with those kind of devices? Are you familiar with?
Let her get back to the
I
microphone.
use the term retention period, but what I mean is how long those devices keep and store video footage.
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object. There's no foundation that there is a definitive time frame or that it cannot be manipulated manually by the owner of the ringtone.
I think she's saying that this witness does not have the expertise, I believe, is what you're saying.
I'm not really sure what her objection is, Judge.
Okay.
But what I'm asking the witness is, in her personal experience, does she have any idea how long videos stay on the Ring camera? I think if she knows the answer to that, she can answer it. I mean, certainly if somebody saves it or does something different, that's maybe a different answer. That's not what I'm asking her. I'm
She
asking.
knows.
But that would be speculation. She don't know how long her cameras
But
keep.
if I reply it wasn't a ring, it was just like a camera, like an outside camera.
Okay, all right. And so do you have any idea or knowledge about what kind of camera that was or, sorry?
I'm not the brand, no, I don't.
Did you ever get any other video footage from anyone other than the one from Cupid? Okay. I have more questions for you, but I think that's all I have for the rest of this chart right now. So if you want, you can have a seat back on the stand. So that day, we talked about the looking and the canvassing that you and your family did. After that, did you participate in any other attempts to locate Susie?
Yes, we did hang around
Thanks
flyers
for the cash out.
around that certain area, but we also looked at the main intersection, like the busiest places near us. So it would be like Jimmy Carter, up by the high school, Meadow Creek. So we would go around with either the flyers, but we also made like this poster that you have right here. We would put her picture there, missing, and so we would just like stand at the intersection and just hold it up for everybody to see. So we would do that several times a day.
So you would stand even in the middle of the intersection, not in the middle, but kind of on the side of the intersection?
Yes, like at the cross points, we would stand right there.
Did anybody ever reach out to you or to you and call a random stranger, call and say they've seen Susie anywhere?
Yeah, a lot.
How many different calls do you think you got?
From that first day, it was like about 10 a day or more at all hours.
Any idea in total how many times people called you and said, we've seen her here or there?
More than 100.
Did you and your family ever follow up on those?
On all of them that we could, that were like in our hands to, yes, we did.
Did you ever, when you went and looked at different areas, did you ever find anything related to Susie's disappearance?
Oh,
Did you ever tell the police about those?
yes, every single one.
Okay. So every time you got a call, you would relay that to the police?
Yes.
Okay. And who was the, at the time, in the initial part of the investigation, who was the police officer that you would talk to?
At the time, Sergeant Biggers.
I want to show you what is marked as State's Exhibits 18, 18.1, 18.2, 18.3, 18.4, 18.5, and 18.6. Do you take a look at them? And after you've looked at them, let me know if you recognize them.
Yes.
Okay. How do you recognize them?
Under the screenshots, the Live 360.
Okay. Now, very generally, the screenshots of Live 360 are the screenshots of Live 360 that you received the morning after Susie disappeared.
Yes.
Right. Do these photographs here appear to be fair and accurate representations of the screenshots you received of the Live 360 notifications?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'm going to move to admit at this time State's Exhibits 18 through 18.6.
Okay, any other objections? Okay. States 18.1 through 18.6 are admitted without objection, except the continuing objection is on the record.
For the record, because I labeled things a little differently, I had it as 18 and then 18.1 through 18.6.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem. I just want to make sure.
18.0 through 18.6 are admitted without objection, except for the continuing objection.
I sure hate I miss what that continuing objection is too.
Also, I'll show you a few other things. I'm going to let Ms. Drake see these first.
Do you need some water?
Okay, thank you.
Now, may I have permission to publish 18 through 18.6?
Yes.
And if you can, could you go ahead and publish number 18?
And is the glare bothering any of the jurors? I can turn that light. It's right over the video. Everybody can see? Okay.
This out of the way just so that it doesn't block anything. Now, is it possible to zoom in on that? There we go. All right. This is State's Exhibit number 18. Jasmine, can you see this?
Yes.
And you also have a screen to your right. It might be a little
Okay.
easier for you to look at as well. This screenshot, did you receive this screenshot the next morning after Susie disappeared?
Yes, I did.
All right. And what does this say? I have never used Life 360, so you'll have to forgive me. There's a lot of technology that I haven't used before, but can you explain to the jury kind of what we're looking at here on this screenshot?
It's just an approximate time that she was at a certain place. So it says 7:28 to 9:58.
All right, so let's say that a little. So you say this is a approximation of, I'm sorry, Can you say it again? I'm not trying to.
Yes. It's an approximate time that she was at a certain location.
Okay. Approximate time. What was the, on here, what is the documented time of this screenshot?
7:28 to 9:58
And does it indicate AM or PM?
p.m. on both.
Okay. So this is the evening of July 26th,
Yes.
2022, 7:28 to 9:58 p.m. And what location is it that is referenced on this screenshot?
It's pinging on Sterling Glen Apartments.
It's at the Sterling Glen Apartments?
I'm not sure if that's the name.
Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay, fantastic. Sterling Glen Apartments. Even if you're not sure that's the name, let me ask you, is this the apartment complex that we were looking at and we've been talking about where Kelly lives and where you guys went and canvassed?
Yes.
Okay. And if we could go to the next one, 18.1.
Sidebar, it's so scary that you can do all these preventives, right? You can do all these preventive measures, locate her on the phone, talk to them, ask them where they going, have a friend's numbers. But when somebody is bound and determined to do something horrible, they're going to do it, right? The phone, they say so they saying that the phone was thrown out a car window. They found the phone nowhere close to the body, but somewhere around, you saw on the map by where her house was and where the friend house was she was walking from. Because she was supposed to be walking back from her friend house home that night. She was 16, 10th grade.
Can you zoom out for me just a little bit?
Your Honor, would the court mind if I stood up there just so I
You
could
could
see?
feel free to move wherever you need to, Ms. Drake.
It is hard. Okay, so can you see that, Jasmine?
Yes.
We have 18, this is the state's exhibit 18.1 that's on the screen. And I'm going to ask if I can for you guys to, well, before you zoom in, are you familiar with Life 360?
Yes.
Okay, and when you see, can you describe to the jury what we're seeing in this image? What is this documenting?
It's just showing when she started moving. So it's just that she left. 9:58, she left the apartments and traveled back that way. I was always a little confused about this screenshot, but that's what it's showing, just the trip that she made at that time.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple other questions. Live 360, does it document trips that you take as you're walking or driving?
Yes, everything.
Okay, so it documents everything.
Yes.
Okay. Now, on this, does it document a starting location?
Is Life
from where a
360,
trip
is that on
started?
iPhone?
Yes, the white circle.
White circle. And where is the white circle located at in this screenshot?
And the Sterling Glen Apartments.
Okay. And when does it say that the trip begins?
At 9:58
9:58. Is that PM?
p.m. Yes.
Now, there are some lines as I look at it. I don't know anything about Live 360. There's some lines that go from point to point.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks
Yes.
like a jigsaw puzzle or something on here as I look at it. But is there an ending location on this trip?
Yes.
All right. And what indicates the ending location on here?
The little other location icon, the black one.
Location icon. And I'm just going to walk up here just so I can make sure I'm clear. Are you talking about this one?
Yes.
Okay, so the white dot here is the beginning.
Yes.
And this dot here is the ending.
Yes.
Okay. And does the screenshot document ending time?
Yes. 10:07 p.m.
10:07 p.m. Okay. Now, where is the ending at?
It shows the exit we were talking about of the apartments, but I can't say for sure where it's pinged at.
Okay, so, and I'm not looking for an exact location, but just generally where is it, where is it at?
The apartments,
Okay, the apartments, all right,
I think, sorry.
and that's okay. Can we move to State's Exhibit 18.2? Can you see that, Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay, 18.2. Would you describe to the jury what we're looking at here?
This is just showing another trip she made. It was a drive. So there it shows the time for about how long, and it should show, yes, it shows the speed at the bottom.
Okay, and would y'all mind zooming in just a little bit on this one?
Right. I wonder if who was that just said that? OG Wu Chow. I think that maybe when they threw the phone out the car window, would that have triggered an
A little
accident?
closer there. Okay, there we go.
Because they got an
All right,
accident
now-
notification.
Again, where is is it the same on this one where the white circle indicates the beginning and I think you said the location icon indicates the end?
No, it's different.
Well, I'm not saying that the same location.
Oh.
But does, on all these trips that are taken, does the white circle indicate the beginning?
Yes.
All right, and the location icon, does that indicate the end?
Yes.
Okay. On this one, where approximately is the white starting location for this trip?
It just shows at the intersection of Sillington with Indian Trail.
Okay. And then where is the ending point?
Near O'Clock Trace.
All right, near O'Clock Trace. Give us the time at when this trip began and when it ended.
It began at 10:21 p.m. and ended at 10:26 p.m.
Okay. Now, I'm going to move on to State's Exhibit. Just move on to 18.6. We'll skip over a couple, we'll come back. All right, and yes, thank you very much. You've already read my mind. So I'm going to zoom in. What are we looking at here, Jasmine? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and what are we looking at?
It's a notification that like 360 sent that it detected a sudden motion. Usually they send an alert. There's like a sudden stop. It does alert you in case of an accident or anything.
Okay, and was this screenshot sent to you as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the time at which, and I guess let me ask you, it's hard to read for me, and I know that many of the jurors might have trouble reading that text. Can you zoom in just a little bit more, please?
Okay, let me try this.
There we go. All right, that's a little better. My eyes are going, so.
Does that help the jury? Okay.
Okay. And it might just be easier, Jasmine, can you read out the message that was sent?
Live 360 detected sudden motion on Susanna's phone. This could be the result of a collision, hard braking, or a drop phone. We suggest that you call Susanna to check on them, and it provides her number. It says when we hear from them, we'll let you know. And then it sends a link to view her current location.
Okay. So that allows the person who receives this.
Okay, so
What
even if it
does
dropped
the
the phone, it can
link
trigger an
allow the
accident.
person who
So
receives
it
the
happened when
message
they
to
threw
do?
the phone out the car.
The link it'll just take you to Live 360 and it'll show you her most updated location.
Okay. And this message, I'm gonna move now to State's Exhibits 18.3, and then we'll go to 18.4. But let's just start with 18.3 if we can. All right. Now, when you clicked on that link, did it show you this location here at O'Clock Trace?
Yes. Well, I wasn't able to click on it, but that was the what it showed when you clicked on it.
Okay, how do you know that?
I'm just familiar with the app, so I know that's what it would show, her last updated location.
Okay, so when you click on that, it shows the last updated. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it shows up there under Susanna, last updated now.
Very good. Now, These screenshots are not from your phone, right?
No.
All right. The 18.3, and if we could maybe zoom in a little bit on this for me. Maybe the bottom half of it. All right. The last location that this image displays, what is the location?
Near Oak Trace on State Road, sorry.
Now, on this one, it's a little different because instead of having a white circle or a location icon, it appears to me to be a photograph, perhaps. What is that photograph of?
It would be the contact picture that they had for her. I was saved for on the phone.
Okay, for whom?
For Susanna.
Okay. So for Kaya, she had that photograph saved as
The profile picture.
profile
Yes.
picture for- Okay, I understand. And where does, on this particular one, it says that she has been in this location since when?
10:30 p.m.
Okay. Also, if we can go on to 18.4, please.
Hey, Jill.
And same thing, if you could zoom in for me, please. All right. And now, if you can point out, and I'm going to give you these two photographs because it's easier, I think, if you look at them side by side. I just don't know how to get them both on the screen at the same time. But the one we just looked at and this one, 18.4, what is, has anything changed as it relates to these two photographs?
Yes.
And explain to the jury what the difference is.
On the one that we just seen, it shows more of location on the road, and then the one that's displaying right now, it shows her more inside of Oak Tree.
And that area there, is that a neighborhood?
Yes, it's a neighborhood.
Okay. In fact, I want to go ahead and show you at this point what I have marked as State's Exhibit 51. I've previously shown this to Ms. Drake. And
This just want to get a
do
little.
you recognize what's in State's Exhibit
Stay
51?
tuning in. This trial gets
Yes.
very
And what is-
interesting with the witnesses.
It's a satellite view of Oak Trail.
Okay, and I say Oak Block Trail?
Yes.
All right, is this the same Oak Block neighborhood we're talking about on these screenshots?
Yes.
Does this appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of that neighborhood?
Yes.
All right, Judge, I move to admit State's Exhibit 51.
No objection.
Okay, State's Exhibit 51 is admitted without objection.
All right, now, and I don't have unfortunately, this one I didn't scan in. This is the only one that I didn't get scanned in, and so I don't have it to put up here on the screen. But if I may, Judge, I'm going to ask the witness a question, and I'm going to ask to publish this to the jury, and I'll let it pass it between the jurors, if that's okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's
Can you put State's Exhibit 18.4 back up for me? On this area here, I'm just going to give you my pen. Can you circle on State's Exhibit 51, kind of the general area where it says that, and you don't have to be exact, just general area where it says that location is, her location is on Oak Block Trace. Probably should have given you a Sharpie, but that's what we have. Judge, I'm going to show this to Ms. Drake with the alteration to it, where she circled here. All right, can I publish this to the jury?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. And the jurors can just maybe take a look at it and pass it once they're done. You got these screenshots, and then because of those, you went and started looking and canvassing the area for Susie?
Yes.
Did you go into the neighborhood, the Oak Block Trace neighborhood, and look for her?
Yes.
And did you find her phone? The phone, it says here, has been there since 10:30 p.m. Did you find her phone?
No.
Did you find anything suspicious at that point, that a crashed vehicle or anything like that?
No, we didn't.
Did you find any evidence whatsoever of Susie being there?
No.
Welcome everybody to the Lit Lane Jury Box. Please hit the like. Thank you.
I want to show you what has previously been marked as State's Exhibits 34 and 35. I showed these ones straight. Do you recognize these photographs? You can look through them and just let me know if you recognize them.
Yes.
All right, and what are they images of? Or what are they?
Satellite images of my mom's neighborhood.
Okay. And did it appear to be fair and accurate representation of that area in your mother's neighborhood?
Yes.
All right, good. I moved to admit State's Exhibit 34 and 35.
Yes, 34 and
34
35.
and 35.
Yes.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit 34 and 35 are admitted without objection.
May I publish them, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
All right. Can you put up 34 for me, please? All right. So on this, there's obviously a red location icon. Can you tell us what that is representing?
My mom's house.
Okay, that's your mother's house.
Queen, Miss Queenie 98, good evening. Welcome back. I've been waiting to see you. I just need to go ahead and issue this apology as well. You were one of the people who was really looking forward to the Murdaugh trial. I'm sorry, but I had to end that trial. I had to make an executive decision. But I have been waiting to see you so I can extend to you my apologies and hopefully get your understanding. This is the trial watch. We just started last night. State of Georgia versus Miles Bryant, a young police officer in Norcross, Georgia. He's on trial now for kidnapping and unaliving 16-year-old 10th grader, Susanna Morales. She left her mama home, went to see her friend, and never made it back. If it wouldn't have been for his gun that was located near the body or in the proximity of the skeletal body remains that they found almost 7 months later, they might have never would have found him. But indeed, it was Miles Bryant's gun, and the investigation started. He is now on trial.
Since over here to the right-hand side, are you familiar with what this area is over here?
The apartments.
You say the apartments. Can you be more specific?
The Sterling Glen apartments.
The Sterling Glen apartments. Okay.
Yes.
And have you ever measured how far it is from your mother's house to the edge of those apartments?
No.
Give me your best guess on how far you think it is.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a little. Is it like walking through like here or around?
Just, as we're looking on this image, you can turn and look right here. From your mom's house here to this building here, this neighborhood complex. Just ballpark how far you think it is. If you know, and if you don't know and you can't answer, that's okay.
I don't. Sorry.
No problem. I don't want you to guess. And I'm going to go to 35 and just flip one. All right, and similar, although maybe from a little bit of a different angle, the red icon here, the location icon, what is that location?
My mom's house.
Okay. And again, down here, got a little bit of a bigger view, but down here in this area where we've got the Windscape Village Lane labels here, do you know what that area is?
Yes.
And what is that area?
Sterling Glen apartments.
Sterling Glen Apartments. All right. Thank you. Last piece of evidence I need to show you here is State Exhibit number 24, and I should have shown this break if I didn't already. I just want to make sure. me show you state exhibit number 24. I want you to take a look at that and let me know if you recognize it.
Yes.
All right. What is it?
It's camera footage of the video we got at King David's Academy.
The surveillance footage?
Yes, surveillance footage, yes.
All right. Walk me through, how did you obtain that footage?
So that day, I remember you told me, I remember telling you that we walked the whole place. So we went to several businesses to see who would be able to give us that footage, and they were one of them that did help us out. So I remember talking to a couple of people, and so we were able to figure out the guy in charge of all the electronics and stuff, and he was able to provide us
This
with
is
that
the victim's sister.
footage.
The victim was unalive.
So, and
She's no longer alive.
have
She was
you
killed.
viewed that?
Yes,
It's
How
her
do you know
sister.
that you viewed that disc?
Uh-oh, I didn't mean to pause.
my initials right there.
Okay, so you put your initials on that disc after you viewed it?
Yes,
Is the footage that's contained on that disc a fair and accurate copy of the footage you obtained from King David Academy?
yes.
Okay. Judge, I move to admit State's Exhibit number 24.
24.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 24 is submitted without objection.
In the video, were they able to download the video and give it to you, or how did you actually get the footage that's on this disc?
The one that's on there, we just took a recording with my phone.
Okay. Now, so you, in describing, kind of walk us through what's happening in the room as you're obtaining that footage.
And then we were just, he was asking us for an approximate time that we think so he can check. So we provided the time on the Live 360. And that's when we were able to see her walking direction to my mom's house.
Okay. Would you go ahead and display? Go ahead and display State's Exhibit number 24.
Telling what time it is. It's literally 9:46. That is her.
That's her. Sí, esa es ella.
Wow.
Entonces sí la levantaron de ahí, mami.
Thank God.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Ahora sí se la llevaron de ahí, entonces. No sabemos nada más.
Jasmine, as you watch that, and now I'm sure you've watched it many times, but I'm going to take you back to the first time that you saw it in that video. How did you know it was Susanna?
The curls, I just know her body, and more specifically the shirt she was wearing, the yellow tank top, and the blue jeans, the white Crocs.
Okay. So you knew what she was wearing
Yes.
the last time she was seen. You also, I think you mentioned, you know your sister?
Yes.
You know what her body looks like, body type, stuff like
Yes.
that? Did you recognize her immediately when you saw that?
Immediately.
You obtained that footage, and then what ultimately, was that the next day, or was it sometime later?
I can't remember exactly. It would have been either that same day, the 27th, or the following day.
We've talked a lot about the efforts on the, and I say on the day, it's technically the next day, July 27th, all of the efforts that you and your family went through. After that, let's move past that initial day or two. Did you go ever looking and canvassing other areas, looking for your sister?
Yes.
How many times do you think?
More than 20.
More than 20. And for, I guess, over what period of time? Maybe if you can recall, what was the last time that you went out and looked?
I can't recall the exact time, but it was all those months that we until we found out her remains were found.
Okay. So another way of saying that, did you ever stop going out and looking for your sister?
No, sorry.
Mama say it looked every day.
Gotta speak right into those microphones. They don't pick up too great. So your sister, was she? How did she feel about her phone?
was attached to her phone. She was attached to her phone.
Attached to her phone, okay. And this, I imagine, pretty common for teenagers in general.
Yes.
Have you ever seen her willingly give up her phone or throw it out or get rid of it?
No.
The area there at Oak Lock Trace that we were just talking about, we've looked at the maps now. Are you aware of any friends or family that Susanna would have had any business going to see there that night?
No.
Now, I want to ask, did you ever know Susanna, I'll call her Susie, as I should call her. Did you ever know Susie to run away from home and not come back?
No.
Let me ask you, sometimes, and I'm a little bit further from being a teenager than you are, but sometimes teenagers and their parents get upset at one another and have arguments, don't get along, and leave the house. Right? A teenager might leave the house because they don't want to be there. Did Susie ever, that you're aware of, ever leave her home and not because she and your mother or you and her got into an argument, leave the home?
No.
Okay. Now, was there ever a time that you can recall where, and I'll ask you this first, that Susie was somewhere and you should have known about it, but you didn't know that she was there?
Not that I can recall.
Was there ever a time that you recall your mother telling you about, or in the family, just in that family dynamic, knowing about that Susie didn't tell you guys where she was at?
No.
Did you know her friends? I'll start with Rose. I think her name is actually Esmeralda.
Yes.
Castillo. Did you know her?
Doing real
Yes.
good.
All right. And how long had you known
A
her?
whole lot at first.
Years.
First got up there.
Would you ever spend time with her?
Yes.
And what about and you also said you knew Kaya
Yes.
as well. And how well did you know her?
They were all friends since middle school, so maybe about 3-4 years.
What about Kelly? You know Kelly?
I think I had heard of her, but I didn't know her personally.
And what about Alyssa? Did you know Alyssa?
No.
Okay. Now, did you know that your sister smoked marijuana?
Yes.
All right. And how did you know that?
I would smell it on her. That's mainly how I found out.
Did you ever talk to her about it?
Yes.
Okay. And I said, as a sister, was it just a conversation, or were you confronting her, or kind of what's the nature of the conversations you're having with her?
Kind of everything, confronting her. I would try to tell me like why she's doing it, what makes her want to do it. I'm trying to get her to stop.
Did you ever know Susie to, other than marijuana, did you ever know her to use any other kind of drug?
I did find pops in the room.
What are that? What is that? Excuse me.
They're like they're vapes.
Okay.
I'm not really sure exactly.
Okay. So you found like a vape pen that people use and smoke?
Yes.
Okay. And Susie was 16, so I know generally the laws about tobacco and minors. She shouldn't have had those?
No.
Okay. So other than a vape pen and marijuana, did you know anything else? Susie, did you do any other drugs?
No.
At any point, did you go through Susie's journal or diary?
Yes.
Was there anything in there related to her use of any other kind of drug than marijuana?
Yes. I recall in the diary she mentioned something about trying. I can't recall exactly the name. I don't know if it was Crystal. I can't remember, but I remember her talking about she didn't want to do it or she didn't like it. I can't say for sure the name of the drug. Sorry.
Okay. A few questions about that. There was something in the diary. She mentioned a name of some kind of drug.
Yes.
You may recall Crystal, but you're not sure.
I'm not sure.
Do you know, you said though, what else did she say about doing that drug?
It was just that she I think she just wrote about how she felt. I can't remember exactly, but I do recall saying she didn't like it.
She didn't like it.
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any idea, do you recall, I don't know if Susie dated her journal entries or diary entries, but was there any indication as to how long before she disappeared that entry was made?
I would assume a couple of weeks because it was one of the first pages she had written more after that.
Okay, it was one of the first pages.
One of the first pages.
And do you have any idea how long she had been writing in that?
I don't.
So there were other entries after that.
Yes.
And I assume based on the number of entries and stuff like that, you came up with maybe an approximation in your mind?
Yes.
Okay. After Susie disappeared, we've talked about a lot of looking, a lot of people calling and talking to you. Did you yourself ever receive any, I use a general term, communication, text message, phone call, social media, anything? Any messages, communication whatsoever from Susie after she disappeared?
No.
When was the last time you talked to her?
Probably 3 days before. I texted her.
You texted her. So after that text, a few days before, no calls, texts, or communications with her after that?
No.
How did you hear about the police finding her body?
It was the day of the funeral. I can't recall if either Carter or Sergeant Biggers texted or called me, but they just let us know that they had something to tell us, and so we came down to the police station, and that's where they informed us.
Okay. And at that time, when you found out,
No, I'm sorry, I'm confusing my days. It wasn't the funeral. It was, I think they were gonna go with us somewhere. I think to get more of her dental records, if I'm not beginning. But I remember them come to the house. I was at my mom's house, and then when they got there, we were already going outside, and they asked us to go back inside to talk, and that's when they informed us. I'm sorry about that.
no, that's not a problem. I appreciate you correcting yourself. That's, what went through your mind when you found out?
A lot of things. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want it to be true. I wanted to see her. I wanted proof that it was actually her. I didn't want to believe that it was her because up to that point, we were still expecting for her to come home.
Did the police, or did you otherwise find out generally the area where her body was found?
Yes.
Is there that area in Tequila, in the woods there, anybody around that area that Susanna would have had any reason to go see?
No.
No friends or family that she would have been visiting there?
No.
Now, at some point, were you made aware of the person, that the police charged somebody with her death?
Yes, that was the day of the funeral.
Day of the funeral.
Yes.
And now obviously, we're a long ways from that, but did you at some point see his photograph?
Yes, when the news published it, I believe.
Let me ask you, did you recognize him?
No.
Had you ever seen him before?
No.
Had Susie told you anything about a Miles Bryant?
No.
Susie told you anything about a guy she was seeing that she hadn't told anybody about?
No.
Had Susie told you anything about a cop that she was talking to, or that she met, or that she knew?
No.
And for the sake of argument, let's just say that she was sneaking in and she knew him. Who would carry the burden of that? Would it be the 16-year-old girl who's a minor, Or would it be the 20-something-year-old cop? But she didn't know him. There's no indication that he knew her or that she had ever met him.
I think those are all the questions I have for you at this time, Jasmine. Ms. Drake is probably going to have some questions for you.
Okay, I'm gonna give the jury a break. We've been going. And I think one of the jurors might need to stretch his legs. We will reconvene at 2:45.
Okay, so hey, Living, no problem. Good to see you. I know you got your hands full, girl. I know you got your hand full with our girl on the ship on the other side. I know. But with this case, it's gonna piss you off a lot of times, and I get pissed off because it's like I get sad because how sometimes they make the victims. But I understand that a good defense is going to ask all of the questions, including the hard ones. And then I have to keep in mind, it's not anything personal, but their job is to defend their client, no matter how that comes across, right? And then as a young girl, and I hate when they, to me, it just seemed like it's no excuse for, it's just no excuses for stuff. Like for real. Period. These young
Come off
girls,
the bench,
teenagers,
or
they
if
can't
in
consent.
between when witnesses are changing. I have issued that order because it was becoming disturbing, the amount of press and people in and out, and the doors were.
Order in the court. Look at him over there. Clean cut young man.
And that DVD, you took that DVD back to your desk. Okay.
A police officer.
I'm making my
Protect
notes.
and serve. Right.
All right, is state ready? Is defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where is
I
the bailiff,
believe the
Nick?
defense may have some cross-examination of Ms.
Look at Winter over there.
Good afternoon, Ms. Jazz.
Good afternoon.
I know we've seen each other, but I don't know that I've ever officially introduced myself. My name is Tracy Drake. I appreciate you being here
Of
today.
course, thank you.
I just have a few questions for you. You indicated that y'all had put out flyers.
Yes.
Originally, whose name was on the flyer to call?
Mine and Esmeralda's.
Do you recall speaking to Detective Carter back in January of 23 at the police department? You and your mom went in and spoke with her?
Yes.
Of course, y'all went in separately.
Yes.
Do you remember telling her that Esmeralda's number was on the flyer, so you had to make new flyers?
Yes.
Okay. You also told her you thought it was weird that Esmeralda wanted to be the first to know about everything?
Yes.
After the first couple of weeks, after Susie went missing, did communication with Esmeralda and some of her other friends kind of stop?
Can't recall exactly, but I did remain with communication with Kaya and Esmeralda.
Welcome back,
Maybe
Miss
not
Sassy
as frequently,
friend.
but
Thank you for the
yes.
support.
I want to go back to her diary. Actually, let's talk about some other stuff first. So I'm gonna show you what's already been marked and shown to the jury. State's Exhibit 18. That indicates that she was at Windscape Village Lane from 7:28 until 9:58.
Yes.
Now, if your mom testified that she left the house at 6, do you know where she was at between 6 and 7:28?
I don't.
Did anyone ask her friend to send those particular screenshots?
Sorry, I can't recall if we asked her or she just sent them. I'm sorry.
Okay. And I wanted to ask you a couple more questions. So on State's Exhibit 18.5, which again has already been entered into evidence, this is one of the screenshots that says her phone has been out of battery since 10:30
Yes.
p.m. the previous day. So on the night that she left, her battery was dead at 10:30,
Yes.
correct?
I'm going to object because she's not asking a question, she's making a statement.
Okay.
So I'd ask her the formal question.
Okay, I'm gonna sustain that objection, Mr.
Okay, I
That's
said
okay.
correct, but okay. The crash or dropping or hard braking text was sent at 10:29.
I need you to ask a question, not make a statement.
Okay, was sent at 10:29, correct?
Yes.
So 1 minute after this was sent, her battery died,
Yes.
according to these.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Drake, I'm gonna ask you to ask questions. I think,
Okay. What is this little side piece in 18.3? Do you know?
It just shows that she's on a FaceTime call while taking the screenshot.
Okay, thank you. I always wondered that. I wasn't sure. And you're familiar with Life 360?
Yes, ma'am.
And in State's Exhibit 18.3, it shows a specific location and it states near Steve Reynolds Boulevard. Is that correct?
Yes.
On State's 18.4, however, it's different. What is different between 18.3 and 18.4 as regarding her location?
On 18.3, it says near Steve Reynolds, and 18.4 near Oak Trail, and the location being
If
different.
you will look at the picture, what is different from this marking of location and this marking of location?
18.3 shows more on the main street, and then 18.4 shows more into the neighborhood.
Okay. Does this big purple circle around the dot show a general location?
Yes.
They trying to act like the sister, some type of
Now,
cell
do
phone
you
person.
know who lives at 3251 Windscape Village Lane?
I don't.
And do you know on 18.1 is what I'm referencing, does it show that she left Kelly's apartment or that address at 9:58?
Sorry, repeat the question one more time.
Does it show that she left 3298 Windscape Village Lane at 9:58?
Yes.
And she walked somewhere and then came back at 10:07 to 3251 Windscape Village Lane. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Do you have any idea where she went and crisscrossed back?
I don't.
Now, do you have Life 360
I do.
and you're familiar with it?
Yes.
And you're familiar with crash detection?
Yes.
That little email or text, for lack of a better word, that was received. So you are aware that there are certain things that have to happen in order for that alert to be enabled?
Yes.
What has to be done for that to be enabled?
I'm assuming a hard stop while maybe on a drive.
Since you're familiar with Life 360, are you aware of certain conditions that have to be happening for it to be working?
Exactly conditions? No, I don't.
So you're not aware that, let me see if I can refresh your memory real quick.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point because she's asked the witness if she's aware of any of these conditions that have to be met. She said no. At this point, Ms. Drake is going to be testifying by just trying to interject some testimony that this witness has already said she doesn't know the answer to, and she's not trying to refresh her recollection. She doesn't know it. It's not that she doesn't remember it.
Long as.
I think I can ask her another question. I have her on cross. If she remembers anything about what the battery life has to be on the phone.
Okay, is that, I'm a little unclear, is that a
This
condition?
judge took me out.
She's already, I'm gonna sustain the state's objection.
So you don't know anyone at Oak Trace Apartments?
No.
The video that was played for the jury, what time was that? What time was the video taken?
I can't say for sure, but 9:40 to 9:50, I'm assuming.
9:40 to 9:50. So it was actually before she finally left Sterling Glen Apartments, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go back to the diary. You mentioned you thought that she had tried a drug, something crystal. Would that be crystal meth?
Can't say for sure.
Okay. Do you remember giving that, well, you said you remember giving a statement to Detective Carter.
Yes.
Do you remember telling her that she had said something about grease lightning being in her diary?
I can't recall. No, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you also remember telling Detective Carter that it was something meth?
Possibly yes. I can't say for sure.
Do you recall, well, let me just ask you, would Susie have gotten in a car with someone that she did not know?
No.
If I can have just a moment, please.
Sure.
If this woman come out with proof that she got in somebody's car, I'ma holler.
One more question and I promise I'll let you go. Do you remember telling?
Uh-oh, that's not me. That's on that side. Let me see what happened. Uh-oh.
The times that you just testified about, 9 review of the video from King David, is her being captured on that video at King David consistent with her leaving the apartment complex at 9:58 and walking home?
I'm gonna just leave it right there. Shit.
Does that make sense?
No, I'm so sorry.
Does it appear?
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna sustain the objections. It's been asked and answered.
Do you recall,
Okay, whatever.
when you got to that video, was there any discussion about whether or not the cameras there at King David were off at all? The time on the cameras were off?
Yes, I remember him telling us I was a little old, so
Hearsay.
I'm gonna sustain that objection. Ma'am, you can't testify to what someone told you.
Oh.
So,
Sure.
go ahead.
Let me ask it a different way. The times that you just testified about, 9:40 to 9:50 or 9:48, is that with the time is it the correct time, or is that before you adjust the time for any time that was off on the camera?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. There's no evidence of such, and this witness would not be privy to that knowledge.
She was privy to the
Your
knowledge.
Honor, I'm going to object if it calls for hearsay.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
The video that was there that you got, the Live 360 application, 9:58, the time that Susie is starting the trip, walking home. Based on your review of the video from King David, is her being captured on that video at King David consistent with her leaving the apartment complex at 9:58 and walking home? Does that make sense?
No, I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Another way to say it maybe is that if she left the apartment complex at 9:58, when you saw her walking in front of the camera at King David, would that be an accurate time? Her walking past, if she left at 9:58, walking home down Singleton Road towards her mom's house, her being captured on that King David video, would that be an accurate time that she was captured on the King David video?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. It's a little bit confusing because he said, would that be when she left at 10? If he wants to say is that the same path that she would have taken, that's different.
Okay. You understand?
I'm not understanding her objection.
I'm not either. I want to overrule the objection. Go ahead. You can answer the question, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's okay.
It's okay. We've got the Live 360 application. It says the trip started at 9:58 p.m.
Yes.
When you look at the video from King David, even though the exact time you're not sure of, does it appear that it would be consistent if she left the apartment complex at 9:58? Does it appear she would have passed by King David when that video was captured?
Yes.
Thank you. That's the question I have.
Sorry, may I ask some more questions?
Certainly.
May I approach Ian? And
Certainly.
I apologize, I don't believe I asked the court.
No, you can feel free to move about the courtroom, Ms. Drake.
Thank you. (18.1) at 9:58 p.m. This is when she left 3298 Windscape Village, correct?
Yes.
But I'm not just asked and answered. This is where we're going.
Sustained.
Does this 18.1 show her walking by that location?
Yes.
At what time?
It says she's left at 9:58.
She left at 9:58. Does it show her going back to Windscape Village Lane and arriving back at 10:07?
Yes.
And there are other trips that she made after that time that we don't have any data for, correct? We don't know where she went from 6 until 7:28.
Correct.
That's all I have.
When you were reviewing footage of King David, did you find any other footage of her walking past King David at any other point?
I don't think we asked for it, no.
Thank you.
Okay. I release this witness.
Your Honor, like
No.
mother, I also have her under subpoena, but she's more than welcome to stay.
Okay. All right. Ms. Perez, you can step down. Don't talk to anyone about your testimony. You're still under subpoena, but you are.
Thank you.
Don't talk to
It's one of
anyone
her
about
best
your.
friends, Kaya, I think. This traumatized all these young people. Wait till y'all see his mama. Hmm. It's very sad, foot soldier.
Watch your step and remain standing on
Oh,
the
y'all
podium.
ain't seen
Raise your
nothing
right
yet. They
hand.
got some good
Do you
witnesses gonna
swear
come.
or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. Have you ever testified in court?
No, ma'am.
Okay, my court reporter has taken everything down, so I'm gonna need you to speak into the microphone and so that she can capture your words, because we have to take down everything in the courtroom. She can't see if you nod or say, uh-huh. We might say, is that a yes or is that a no?
Okay.
There's water right here, if you would like to get some now or at any time. The attorneys are gonna be
Wait till
asking
y'all
you
see the couple
questions.
that
If
broke
you'll
down
just
crying
wait till
on
they
him.
finish what they're saying, you may anticipate their question and start trying to answer it and answer at the same time, and then my court reporter can't take you both down. So just to wait till the attorneys finish their question, take a breath, and then answer, so that my court reporter can get an accurate record.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Jones.
Hi.
Can you state your full name?
Kaya Jones.
And can you spell your first name?
KYA.
And Ms. Jones, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Okay, and are you working or in school?
I am working currently.
Where are you working?
I'm working at a restaurant.
Okay. And what do you do at the restaurant?
I do hosting, to-goes, and serving.
And what about school? What was your last grade you finished in school?
I just graduated not that long ago, on the 22nd of last month.
Congratulations.
Thank
Where
you.
did graduate
From Meadow Creek High School.
Okay. And did you go to Meadow Creek your whole 4 years of high school?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you know Susanna Morales?
Yes.
How long did you know Susanna?
We went to school together since elementary school.
Okay. Were you friends since elementary school?
We knew of each other, but we weren't very close until 6th grade.
What school were you in 6th grade with Susanna?
Radloff Middle School.
And what did you call her?
I called her Susie, Susanna, Sue, just
Okay.
whatever.
And you said friends since 6th grade?
Yes.
How old were you in 6th grade?
11 or 12.
What kind of stuff did you guys like to do together?
We would go get food, we do makeup, we learn dances and songs. She used to play the ukulele, so she would learn songs on that as well. Just hang out.
Who else was in your friend group with you and Susie?
It was me, Susanna, and Esmeralda.
Did Esmeralda also go to school with you?
Yes.
Both of you? And you and Susanna were in the same grade?
Yes.
Who was older?
I was older.
How much older?
A couple months. My birthday is in October and hers is in June, so I think like 5 or 6 months, I believe.
And you said she liked music?
Yes, she loved music.
What kind of, you said the ukulele. How long did she play the ukulele?
I'm not sure. She's always had one since I've known her. She got really interested in it maybe when we were freshmen.
Did she play any other instruments?
Yeah, she had a piano as well, and then we also used to play the violin together in middle school.
Were you guys in any band or groups at school for music?
Just orchestra and chorus.
And back in July of 2022, what grade were you about to enter? Or what?
I was a sophomore, I believe. Or I was about to be a junior.
Okay. So you had finished your 10th grade and were in the summer before 11th grade?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Susie in the same grades then?
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Back then in July of 2022, which area were you living in?
I was living in Duluth at the in-town suite still.
Okay. And where did Susie live?
She lived in Norcross on Singleton.
Were you, how were you able to see each other?
It just depends. If it wasn't at school, it was like somewhere outside of school. We used to have cheer practice together. I would go to Esme's house and she would also go there. We would hang out at the mall, a bunch of different places.
And you said Esme, what,
Oh, Esmeralda, sorry.
Esme is what you call her?
Yeah.
And how was Susie like that summer? You said after sophomore year going into junior year, how would you describe her? Happy, sad, funny?
I think she was very happy. She was a very bubbly person, like just had a really like shining personality. She was very sweet, very nice, very down to do anything with you.
Okay. And back then, were you guys was she still doing music in high school too?
I believe so. I believe she was still in orchestra and chorus.
And you mentioned cheer. You both cheered?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that for Meadow Creek?
Yes.
And how would you communicate with her? You guys call, text, social media?
Yeah, all of that.
All
So
that?
like social media, FaceTiming, phone calls, texting.
What social media apps did you and Susanna use?
We use TikTok, Instagram, sometimes Snapchat. Yeah.
Did you guys make TikToks or Snap videos?
Yes.
What kind of videos did you guys make?
Usually it was dancing videos, or because she was Hispanic, she would teach me a lot of dances as well. So we would do those.
Was she a good dancer?
Yes.
Were you a good dancer?
I'd like to believe so.
Okay. When you guys hung out, whose house did you hang out at?
Usually Esmeralda's house.
Did you sometimes hang out at Susie's house?
Yeah, sometimes.
And at that point, how was her relationship with her mom?
I mean, it was like any relationship a teenager has with their parent. It was, I would say it wasn't bad. It was good.
Did you know her mom too?
Yeah.
And you knew Esmeralda's mom?
Yes.
Did your mom sometimes talk about you girls?
I think so, probably.
Did Susie ever talk to you about getting in any fights or disagreements with her mom?
Sometimes, but it wasn't anything that would worry me. We all have fights with our parents, so.
Okay. Did any of that summer back in
No, this is one of her best friends that her mom approved of. It was two girls, Esmeralda, we haven't heard from yet, and this girl here, Kaya. That's the friends that the mama had been know their parents. The girl Kelly is the one that the mama didn't approve of. And I can't remember whether she's going to be testifying or not, but I'm pretty sure all of them are.
June and July of 2022? Did anything worry you about Susie then?
No.
She was doing okay?
Yeah.
And we heard some talk before that Susanna smoked marijuana. Did you know about that?
Yes.
How often would she do that?
Pretty often, I would say.
Do you know if she did any other drugs?
I don't believe so.
Did Susanna ever talk to you about running away?
No, never.
Did she ever talk to you about wanting to move out or go somewhere else?
She wanted to live with Esme, but that was just because we were all so close. But never like she wanted to run away or like leave home.
How often do you think you talk to Susanna?
If not every day, maybe every other day.
And with that, what form of communication would you talk to her on when you guys were talking every other day?
I would like to say it's probably mostly texting or FaceTime, but it was definitely at least a text or like a video on social media that we would send each other.
Would you see her when you were not in school during the summer break?
Yes.
How often do you think you saw her in person?
Maybe like every week, at least.
Do you know when the last time you talked to her was?
I think it was a couple of days before she went missing.
And are you familiar with the Life 360 app?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have that on your phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what Life's 360 is.
It's an app where you can add people to your circle. You can add friends, family members, and it'll tell you their location, and you can like name places. So it'll tell you if they're at work or if they're at home.
Okay. Did you have friends or people in your circle on Life 360?
Yes.
Who was in your circle group or your friend group on Life 360?
We had a friend named Andrea Lees. Susanna was in it. Esmeralda was in it, and then one more friend named Kiara.
When did you first get the Life 360 app? Do you remember?
I believe 7th grade.
Okay. And back in 7th grade when you first got it, do you think you were friends with Susanna on it back then?
Yeah.
Do you still have Life 360?
Yes.
So you have used it consistently since 7th grade?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also communicate or are friends with your family on it?
Yes.
Who in your family are you on 360 with?
My aunt, my uncle, my grandma, my mom, all my siblings, my dad, and my uncles, a lot of them.
So you use it a lot?
Yes.
Okay. How often do you think you look at it?
Every day.
Every day you look
Every
at it?
day. Yes, ma'am.
Why do you look at it every day?
I would like to know where people are without having to text them, but I think the reason why I look at it every single day now is to check up on my family members and my friends to make sure everything's okay.
Why do you do that now?
Because Susanna went missing.
When you look at Life 360 at you can see someone's location.
Yes.
Are you able to see if someone is walking, driving, running?
Yeah.
How do you find out if they're walking or driving?
It'll say how many miles per hour they're going. So, whenever you open Live 360, you don't even have to click on the person. It'll like, if somebody's driving or if there's multiple people driving, it'll show like a little car next to them.
Okay. What if they're walking?
It'll show like a shoe.
Okay. And if their phone is just sitting in their home or not moving, what does it show?
Just their picture, their icon.
And when you have your friends in your Life 360 circle, do you get to choose their pictures on how they show up in that?
No, they choose their pictures whenever they sign up.
Okay. So they can either have, is it always a picture or is it just sometimes just a regular icon?
Sometimes it's a regular icon. They don't have to put a picture. If they don't put a picture, I think it's their initial.
Okay. And when you said you look at it pretty much every day, based on you looking at it every day pretty much since 7th grade, is the person's location usually accurate on Life 360 as to where they are?
Yes, very accurate.
And are you able to know, like if your mom is at your house with you, are you able to see her at your house on 360?
Yes.
Do you check on where your mom is?
Yes.
And is your mom when your mom is in your circle, can she see where you are?
Yes.
So everyone can see where everyone is at as long as you're friends in the app?
As long as you're in the same circle, because you can have multiple circles with different people in it.
So like your circle with Susanna and Esmeralda, was that the same circle as your mom and your uncles?
No.
Okay. How many circles back in July of 2022, how many circles did you have?
I believe I had 3.
And your circle with Susanna back in July of 2022, who was in that with you?
Well, I had her in 2 different ones. I had her in one with, like I said, 2 other people other than me, her, and Esmeralda. But then I had one with just me, her, and Esmeralda.
Okay. So both of them were just friend groups?
Yeah.
And since 7th grade till now, when you had the Life 360 app, how many times have you ever gotten a crash alert?
Just that one time.
Tell us what a crash alert is.
They send a text to your phone saying that they are worried, saying that there might have been hard braking or a crash. and to check up on that person, and it sends a link to their location.
And you said that you looked at it every day pretty much since 7th grade to now. You've only gotten that message one time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Ms. Kai, I'm going to show you some pictures that have already been admitted into evidence. These are states, numbered states 18 through 18.6. If you could take a moment and look at those, okay?
Mhm. Okay.
Do you recognize those?
Yes, ma'am.
You've seen all of them?
Yes.
And did you take those photos?
I took the screenshots. Yes.
And the one of the hand on 18, who took that one?
I think my mom might have taken like the picture of the phone, but I recognize the screenshot as the picture I took.
And that picture of the hand, is that your phone?
No, that's not my phone.
Do you know whose phone it is?
I'm not 100% sure. It might be my mom's. Maybe it's Jasmine's phone. I'm not 100% sure.
And those pictures that you took, once you took them, the screenshots, what did you do with them?
I sent them to Jasmine, to my mom. I sent them to Esmeralda, I believe, as well. Just to try to make sense of what.
Let's talk about that night. So that night you said, July 26, 2022. Where were you that night? Do you remember?
I was at home.
Was Susanna with you?
No, ma'am.
Did you know where she was?
No, ma'am.
Were you looking at her location ever that night on 360?
No.
At some point, did you get a contact as to what was going on with Susanna?
Yeah, I got that text from Life 360.
And before you got that text, had anyone reached out to you?
No.
And that text that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
talking about 18.6, is that the text you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
You're on permission to publish 18.6?
Yes. You've got a screen right here.
Yeah, these pictures are going to be on the screen behind you as well as the screen right there in front of you, okay?
Okay.
So you said you got this text. Do you remember what time you got the text?
Almost around 10, I believe.
So we see in 18.6, can you see the time of the text message?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this your phone that we're looking at this text?
Yeah, the one in the picture.
In this picture? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what time did this text come in?
10:29.
And when you got this text, did you know where Susanna was?
No, I did not.
Were you awake when you got this text?
Yes.
What did you do when you got this text?
I tried to call her and she didn't answer. And so I called Esmeralda because I thought they were together.
And did Esmeralda answer?
Yes, she did.
And the links we see in states 18.6, a phone number. Do you know whose phone number that is?
That's Susanna's phone number.
Okay. And we see a link at the bottom. Did you click that link?
Yes, ma'am.
What did that link show you?
It showed me her Life 360 location at that
Welcome
Oak
back to
Ridge
the podcast,
apartment,
Catherine. Good
the one
evening.
right next to Kelly's.
I'm going to give you the pictures back. You can go through them and tell me when you click the link, which picture was it that pulled up?
Shout out to Em Renee. I know she's somewhere up in the cloud.
This one right here.
You're showing us 18.4.
Yes, ma'am.
You got a permission to publish 18.4?
Yes.
And boom, you
And
shake
then
that
some
cloud hard
screen,
enough.
Tell us here, for those of us who don't use 360, what we're looking at, so we understand.
That is her location. Her icon says that it was there.
So that picture we see in the picture with the multiple girls, whose picture is that?
Susanna put that picture up. It's me, Susanna, and Esmeralda.
Is that the picture? So she would have put that as her icon on 360?
Yes, ma'am.
And where is that showing? What is that showing us, the picture?
I believe we're at the arcade.
No, I'm sorry. I get the picture is at the arcade of the 3U girls?
Yes.
Okay. So where is the ring on the 360 app showing that she is?
In the neighborhood right there, the Oak Lock Trace.
Do you know that neighborhood?
No, I have a friend who lives there, but I'm not very familiar with it.
That friend that lives there, was that a friend of Susanna that she would go to?
No.
Do you know any reason why Susanna would be at that location that night?
No.
And near, we see her, it says near Oak Lock Trace on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
What, and then it says since 10:30 p.m. yesterday. Tell us what those mean.
It says that her location has been there since 10:30 p.m. So like she hasn't moved since then from that area.
Okay. And that's what you got when you opened that link.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you called Esmeralda after you talked to, gonna reach Susie, and you talked to Esmeralda. What did you do after you got that alert that night?
After speaking with Esmeralda, she went out there and checked it out because we were thinking she got into a car accident. She couldn't find any debris or anything, so we just assumed that she was sleeping over at a friend's house, and we slept on it.
Did you go out to that location that night yourself?
No, ma'am.
But you said Esmeralda did?
Yes.
How did you know Esmeralda went out there?
I was on the phone with her the whole time.
You stayed with her on the phone the whole time she was out there?
Yes, ma'am.
And if we could pull up picture 18. So this picture is submitted into evidence as 18. Can you explain to us what this is showing us?
The details of her location.
Okay, so that location of 3298 Windscape Village Lane, do you know that location?
Believe that's Kelly's house.
Have you been to that house before?
Yes.
And it says that under there sometimes 728 to 958.
I want to know what she
What
think
is
of
that?
Kelly.
That's like how long she was there.
Okay, so looking at that time, if she got there at, let's say 6:30, would it show on the app?
Yeah, if she got there at 6:30, it would.
Okay. What if she was somewhere else, like the living room or the bedroom, a different place then, like her phone moved? Would that change the time?
No, because if it's in like a very small area, then it wouldn't.
What if you're walking around in the parking lot of the apartment complex? Would that change the time?
Yes.
And we could bring up 18.1. Ms. Carter, looking at 18.1, that's been admitted into the evidence, one of the screenshots you took. Can you explain to us, first of all, what is the time on this that it says on the phone?
It says 9:58 p.m. to 10:07 p.m.
Can we make it bigger so we can see the top?
This is the type of questions they
see
they
the
normally
top of
ask
the
the
phone.
cell phone
Mhm.
experts.
The 856.
Yes, ma'am.
Whose phone is that? The 856.
That's my phone.
Okay. And the battery, the little LTE yellow battery, that's your phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And we see the short trip, the 9:58 to 10:07. Tell us what that means and what we're looking at here.
So it's basically a trip is anytime you make movement that's big enough for it to capture. So like if you go on like a car ride to the store and come back, it'll show you the trip, like the highest miles and stuff like that. Or if you go walking across the street or something, and that's what it means.
So we see that path there with the white dot to the black dot on crisscross.
Yes,
You know
ma'am.
what that would be?
I'm not entirely sure.
And if we could look at 18.2. And again, you took this screenshot, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what we're looking at here.
That shows her driving from the front of her neighborhood.
Did Susanna have a car?
No, Susanna did not have a car.
Did she drive?
No.
Okay. Do you know at 10:21 p.m. Who she would be driving with?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
We're gonna
And
end
we
after
see
the
that
state finish
location
asking
that
me
says,
direct and come back on
Steve
cross-examination
Boulevard,
tomorrow.
at the end. Can you explain to us from the white dot to the black dot up top what that means?
It means that she started at where the white dot is, the Steve Reynolds Boulevard. She started there, and then she ended where that black dot is. That's where the trip ended.
Okay, and we see on the bottom the speed, the phone usage. Explain to us what those mean, the top speed.
Yeah, so the top speed will just tell you like the fastest speed, like on the whole trip, the fastest that you've gone. The phone usage, it'll see how much she's been on the phone. The other ones, the other three, I don't have like the gold membership, so I'm not familiar with those.
So is that why we see that little lock? You can
Yeah.
see that stuff? Okay. That location of Steve Reynolds Boulevard, do you know why Susanna would be over there?
Yes.
The top location where it stopped at Steve Reynolds Boulevard location?
Where she ended?
Yes.
No.
Do you know any friends, do you guys in your friend group have any friends over there?
No.
And if we can look at 18.3. And so we see at the top, what time is this on your phone?
12:12.
And tell us what we're looking at in this picture of the screenshot you took.
This is Susanna's location, and I was on that little box is a FaceTime call I was on with Esmeralda,
Okay.
and yeah, it's a screenshot of her location.
Okay, and on the bottom where it says under her name by her picture, what does it say under her name?
Under
Where
her
her
name,
glasses at?
it says near Steve Reynolds Boulevard since 10:30
Head
p.m.
look beautiful
yesterday.
now.
What does that mean?
It means that she's been at that location or near the location since 10:30.
Okay. And if we could go to, and I'm sorry, what is the battery? We see under a little battery thing under Susanna's picture on the bottom.
Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean?
It tells what her phone battery is.
Okay.
So that's really, really good, right? Because now that me and my son on there, right, and he gone somewhere, and I check his location, I can see already if his phone is low, and I can tell him, hey, you need to charge up your phone. And that way he can't give me the excuse, oh, well, I didn't answer the phone because my phone died, or I couldn't call you because my phone was dead. You know, because I would already be able to say, no, your phone needs to be charged. And you know already people will find a charger in a crowd of people they don't even know, basically.
And what is the phone battery is there?
9%.
And do you know, have you ever used the 360 app when your battery's dying?
Yes.
Tell me how that works with your battery.
whenever your battery is low, you can send, or well, whenever somebody else's battery is low, you can send them a message to charge their phone. That's pretty much it. You just can see other people's battery lives to be able to let them know that they need to charge their phone.
Can you still see someone's location when their battery is low?
Yes.
And in this picture of 18.3 where it's at 12, what does the battery say for Susanna?
9%.
And we're going to go to 18.4. And this picture, 18.4, this also you took the screenshot.
Yes, ma'am.
And tell us what we're looking at here.
It's still her same location. So it said that she had been there since 10:30, so she's still there.
She's still at that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is that the same location where the crash alert you got was located at?
Yes, ma'am.
And what time is it now on your phone when you took this?
12:22.
And the battery, as Susanna, what is her battery at this point, 10 minutes later?
I believe that says 7%.
And we're gonna go to 18.5. This picture, tell us what we're looking at here on the phone.
That is whenever her phone ran out of battery. So it doesn't show the location anymore because her phone's out of battery.
Okay, so we see that it says since 10:30 p.m. Does that mean that her battery's been out since 10:30 p.m. or since that's her location since 10:30 p.m.?
It means that is where she was at, like her location since 10:30 p.m.
So this is showing us on 18.5 that she has been at that location off Steve Reynolds since 10:30 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And are we able to tell what time her battery went out?
I don't believe so.
But even though her battery is out, you're still tracking her location on her phone.
No, you
Yes.
can't track it. How can you track
This
it with
says
the battery out?
8:56. Do you know, is that 8:56 in the morning or the night?
I'm not sure.
Because we see it says, it was Susanna's was last updated 15 hours ago at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be the next morning? Or you?
I think it's PM.
It's okay if you don't know.
It's no way
And
that.
that crash alert you got, you've only ever gotten one.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you drop your phone off the table at your house, you don't get a crash alert?
No, ma'am.
It had
If
to
your
get.
battery
Let
runs
me be
out,
quiet.
do you
Let me
get a
be
crash
quiet.
alert or?
No, ma'am.
And you said you talked to Esmeralda that night while she was at the location and didn't see anything, signs of a crash.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you ever able to reach Susanna that day?
No.
The next morning, what did you do?
Right,
The
OG.
next morning, I woke up and I checked my phone, and Esme had told me that she still hadn't been in contact with anybody and that her mom had filed a police report.
And at that point, had you heard from Susanna?
No.
And did you check your other social media to see if she had any signs on Snap or TikTok or anything?
Yes.
And did you see her on any other social media?
No, ma'am.
Did you take any steps to look for Susanna?
Yes. So the night after she went missing, me and some of my family and friends went to the location that it said she was last at in that neighborhood and looked around. I even asked my friend if we could look at her ring footage or maybe if she seen or heard anything to let us know.
Is that your friend who lived on the Oak Block Trace apartments?
Yes.
And did you look at that ring?
Yes. There was nothing on there.
Okay. Besides looking at that location, Well, how long do you think you spent at that location?
It was a couple hours. It definitely was a couple hours. Because we looked up and down the road, all in the neighborhood. There was like a shed in there that we looked in.
Do you also use the Find My Friends or Find My on the iPhone?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have Susanna on that Find My?
Yes.
Did you look for Susanna on the Apple Find My app that night also?
Yes.
What did it show for that?
It's not very accurate on Find My like it is on Life 360.
So
So
you find that Life 360 is more accurate than the Apple app?
yes.
And you said you searched that location on Oak Trace. Did you look at any other locations?
Yes, I looked at the front of her neighborhood to see if we can find anything of hers, like any jewelry or like a croc charm. To see if we can see like skid marks. I used to look for her in parks and stuff.
When you were out there at the Oak Trace location, were police there too?
Yes.
Who else was there with you besides you and police?
Her mom was there, her sister, her boyfriend Axel, Esmeralda was there, my mom was there, my uncle was there, my sister was there, her boyfriend. It was a lot of us.
So all of you were looking.
Hey, family.
Yes.
Those pictures that we looked at up there, did you give those to the police?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you searched some area parks and stuff?
Yeah.
Did you also help hang up flyers?
Yes.
Did you ever hear from Susanna again after that?
No, ma'am.
How did you find out what happened to Susanna?
I was with Esmeralda and she had gotten a call from her friend.
You need a minute? Hey, you want some water?
Yes.
This is so sad. Baby, that judge gonna drown them with offering them water. I guess water supposed to let them gain their composure, I guess. And water supposed to like calm them down, I guess. Y'all let me know. But baby, this judge will tell them, you want some water? Would you like some water? There's water.
So I had asked you when you found out what happened to Susanna.
Yeah, I was at Esmeralda's house. We had just both come back from school and she got a call from one of her friends. He told us he had something to tell us and to sit down, and then he sent us a screenshot of an article that came out saying that it was her.
And did you ever know anyone who wanted to hurt Susanna?
No.
Did she ever talk about getting in a fight with anyone or anyone trying to hurt her?
Nothing like violent or anything.
The man that's charged with doing this, Miles Bryant, did you know him?
No, I did not.
Did Susanna ever mention him to you?
No.
Had you ever seen him before you saw his picture on TV?
No.
You went to her funeral?
I did.
How's that?
It was very.
I don't know the relevancy of that.
I'll go back.
Response, okay.
When you found out that what happened to her, what were you thinking?
At first I was in denial. I was thinking that maybe it couldn't have been her. Maybe it was somebody else. I think I was in shock.
One moment. Thank you. I have no other questions for you, Ms. Scott. Thank you so much. Mr.
Thank
King,
you.
that's all for you.
So this is a good place to break, because it's kind of sad anytime you see these young people going through this. She had to experience the frantic, the fear when her friend came up missing, searching for her, finding out they find just a girl's skeleton. They didn't find the body for 7 months, and all they found was the skeleton in her hair, her nails. So tomorrow we'll pick up tomorrow night with the cross-examination of Kaya. The girl is on the stand now. Let's see. Let me see something. And then I think after Kaya is the other friend, either Kelly or Esmeralda. Okay. So I hate to leave it on a sad note, but this is what's happening. That's what this case is. What went wrong? What went wrong with this young police officer, 20-something years old, straight into the academy, seemed to be a good student. We'll learn more about that. And to the question that, as we listen to this trial, one question that kept coming to me when I saw this trial a year ago was, would he have done this again? And I'm going to keep asking y'all that question. Do y'all think if he wouldn't have got caught this time, would he have done this or something just as bad or if not worse again? We're going to hear different things about what he has done in the past. So y'all keep tuning in to Night Court, 7 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Yes, we will. You guys tune in tomorrow night. And we will pick up and see what's going on with this case. Okay. Thank you guys so much for supporting this content. I am Judge D. Lit, and court is now in recess. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell.